Michigan State is a dumpster fire. Welcome to OurSport. I'm Larry. I'm your host. John, as always, is doing the recording and editing, providing occasional commentary. We're going to get to our All-Pro team, the OurSport 2019 NFL All-Pro team in a minute. We're going to start with the Michigan State Spartans, who, as of this recording, have just hired Colorado coach Mel Tucker. Now, let's get into why I say that this team, this program, is a disaster now. Every kind of cliche you want to use. The dumpster fire, the train wreck, garbage truck juice, whatever you want, that's what this program is. Why do I say that? Well, Mel Tucker is now being embraced by the Michigan State fans. They like this hire. Well, of course they do. Because the options before this, Mel Tucker, don't forget, turned this job down about a week ago. And the options after Luke Fickell had declined this job were coaches like Butch Jones, then Harlan Barnett. Not good choices. And so Mel Tucker, by comparison, looks pretty good right now compared to them. But let's go back to the crux of the matter. The person originally offered his job, Luke Fickell, head coach of Cincinnati, not the Cincinnati Bengals. We're talking about the college team, the Cincinnati Bearcats. And let's look at what Mel Tucker got in this program as a package to come here. He got his salary almost doubled. He got a huge influx of cash. The program has committed, you have to give them that, to increase the strength and conditioning staff, to increase his recruiting budget, and a large pool for assistant coaches. Now, you think they didn't offer all that to Luke Fickell, their first choice? You think he didn't get the same offer, that they lowballed him and offered more to their second choice? No, of course not. Luke Fickell had all these things and turned down the program. He turned down Michigan State to say Cincinnati. Why is that? Well, they have a lot of issues that are going to hurt your ability to succeed at this football school. First of all, the athletic director is brand new. And I don't mean like brand new as in brand new to just job. I mean brand new as an athletic director. Has no athletic director experience. The president is brand new. The team also has looming sanctions. Perhaps at a minor variety, that's still to be determined. The team is also in the midst of a lawsuit. Curtis Blackwell, the former staffer, is suing Mark D'Antonio, who might have lied during his deposition. And that's going to be an ongoing problem. Also, in the midst of one of the largest sexual assault cases in the history of athletic sports, the Larry Nassar case, could have more repercussions, more things coming out from that case that Curtis Blackwell was involved in. All of those things hurt. More disadvantages. The recruiting has slipped. Last year was bad. This year was even worse. And if you're Mel Tucker, you don't get any of your own commits. You don't get to come in November when a coach announces he retires and have 3 months to try to get some commits. Perhaps flip some from Colorado. None of these commits are yours now. None of them. Not one of them are ones that are committed to you. Also, the coaching staff. The timing of Mark D'Antonio's departure almost ensured that a lot of these coaches have to be kept on staff. D'Antonio oddly retired the day before signing day, the day before players could sign their letter of intent for the last time. And what that means is, you're Mel Tucker. You have all this money to spend. You're going to need it. You're going to need it because you have a long building project ahead of you. You look at the schedule next year, 9-game conference schedule. Not that 8-game crap that the SEC teams play. You have a 9-game schedule. Nobody talks about this, how difficult this is for the Big Ten and Pac-12 teams. Out of conference, who do you have? You have Patsies. You have a Northern Illinois. No, you have a Toledo. Okay. You also have at BYU and at home against Miami. And I don't mean Miami of Ohio. I'm talking about the Miami Hurricanes come to East Lansing to play Michigan State. The week after you play Miami, you're on the road. Kinnick Stadium. Ask Ohio State. Ask people who have been there. Ask Michigan what a nightmare this place is to play. And after that, that's your respite. You got 2 home games in a row. There's your chance to rest up. It's against Michigan and Ohio State back-to-back. That's the meat of their schedule. That doesn't include resurgent Minnesota. That doesn't include at Penn State. That doesn't include at Indiana, who's actually a legitimate team. This team's bad. This team's going to be real bad next year. Michigan State fans are going to get excited, but this team is now below Maryland in terms of talent, and this team's going to be fighting Rutgers to avoid the cellar of the Big Ten East. All right, now we announce the 2019 OurSport All-Pro team. Starts at the quarterback. This one's easy. Lamar Jackson, unanimous MVP, a major threat, passing and running, improved as a passer. I worry about him because the kid is frail, the kid is slight. I worry about him getting hurt in the league, but he's spectacular, young. He's going to be around a long time. Him and Pat Mahomes might be dueling for MVPs for a long time together. Running back. Derrick Henry, the dump truck, had a late run and led the league in rushing. Christian McCaffrey, Panthers running back, explosive, dual-purpose weapon, 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. Our tight end choice is easy. It's George Kittle from the 49ers. Kittle's a fifth-round pick, a little bit overlooked, but if you look at his combine numbers and see what he did, he has a lot of, if you look at Spark scores, kind of athletic measurable traits, he had a lot of those. Didn't have a lot of production at Iowa, has produced to his numbers in the NFL. At receiver, Michael Thomas. Record-setting year for the Saints. Caught every ball. His catch rate was one of the highest ever recorded by a lot of the advanced stats. And Nuke Hopkins from Houston. And the one thing you notice about Hopkins, if you're paying attention, is that he gets shut down a lot of times in the first half of games, and he'd make a late run in second halves when you really needed him. It's kind of like that way in a playoff game against Tre'Davious White, who they got held in check for a long time, and then he exploded when he needed him in the fourth quarter. On the offensive line, our center, Travis Frederick from the Dallas Cowboys. The guards are going to be Quentin Nelson from the Colts and Zach Martin from the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys had the number one offense in the league this year, fueled by those two offensive linemen, which is a little bit misleading. Now, that team was really up and down, but those two on that team played well. As for tackles, Ryan Ramczyk, right tackle from the Saints, another Wisconsin player. He got drafted late in the first round. The Saints got a steal there. And our other tackle spot is going to be Mitchell Schwartz from the Kansas City Chiefs. Eric Fisher, if you watch the Super Bowl, the left tackle, he got killed. Joey Bosa wore him out the whole game pretty much. They never called a holding penalty, which is a little crazy. But Schwartz on the other side really kind of dominated D Ford, and he's been their better offensive lineman by far the whole time he's been there. On defense, our edge players, Chandler Jones, the Arizona Cardinals, 19.5 sacks, should have been Defensive Player of the Year, was not. Bill Belichick is perhaps the greatest coach of all time, but he does have some personal issues that you have to really question. I don't know why he traded a guy who is averaging about 15 sacks a year since he left New England. You have to wonder if he would have made the difference in that Super Bowl against the Eagles, because they could have used the pass rush. Nick Foles went up and down the field on him, and he traded him before that game. The other edge spot goes to Shaquille Barrett, Tampa Bay Bucks. Barrett was a kind of an afterthought out of Colorado State. He's been around the league a while. He was on that team with DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller and kind of the backup there. They drafted Shane Ray out of Missouri in the first round, supposed to be the heir apparent, and they had to let Barrett go because of a salary cap. Well, Barrett started the year pretty hot with Tampa Bay, and he kind of kept it going the whole year, finished with 19 sacks in a breakout year. Let's see if it's fluky or not. He really doesn't have a history of being this good, but an all-pro year with him. At defensive tackle, as always, Aaron Donald. 12.5 sacks, destroying plays left and right, getting into the backfield, tons of tackles for loss. There are games now where you see him kind of held in check a little bit, and I think it's more to do with the players around him because he's seeing every double team known to man. And he may have had an issue wearing down a little bit in the year. He's not a huge player, and the Rams' top priority really should be to get him some help on that defensive line this year. The other defensive tackle spot, Chris Jones, Kansas City Chiefs. Big player, 6'6", 315, gets an interior pass rush, and had 3 highlight pass knockdowns in the Super Bowl when they really needed him most. If you look at the advanced stats again, Jimmy Garoppolo had the fewest passes knocked down the whole year, had 6 of them, had 3 in the fourth quarter in that game by Chris Jones. The difference maybe in stuffing the 49ers offense in that game. At linebacker, bit of a down year. You didn't have anybody blow up the league like Luke Kuechly in his prime, but Bobby Wagner had a good year for the Seahawks, as always. Demario Davis, a bit of a breakout year with the Saints. And although Darius Leonard from the Colts did slip to a certain extent. He really slipped down from lofty heights. He should have been Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie. He still had a great year. It was a little bit hit and miss, a little bit dinged up, but he also had a lot of the impact plays you look for: tackles for loss, sacks, interceptions, things like that. At corner, what you have nowadays is you don't have a Darrelle Revis type of corner in the league anymore. Not right now, anyway. You don't have a Deion Sanders in his prime, a true lockdown All-Pro corner. Stephon Gilmore won Defensive Player of the Year. I don't really think he deserved it, but he was good. He's one of our corners. The other player is Tre'Davious White from the Buffalo Bills. White was kind of billed as a player coming out of college that he's good at a lot of things, but not great at anything. Just a high-character kid who studied the game, but he kind of lived up to maximizing his potential with the Bills. He's done that this year. And he was doing real well until he got roasted in the fourth quarter of a playoff game by Nuke Hopkins. That's might be the lingering memory of the season for him, unfortunately. At safety, Jamal Adams from the Jets, kind of toiling in anonymity on a really bad football team, but doing his part to win games. And Minkah Fitzpatrick, traded from the Dolphins. The Dolphins had him playing all over the field. He's versatile enough to play every position in the secondary, and they had him doing it. Well, the Steelers said, you know what? You just stay at safety. You just stay at free safety, and he rewarded them. They used the first-round pick to get him, but he made a ton of plays and a lot of pick sixes. He was worth every bit of that trade. Justin Tucker, the kicker from the Baltimore Ravens, is our All-Pro kicker. And Brett Kern, punter from the Tennessee Titans, is our punter. That is the 2019 OurSport NFL All-Pro team.
Brett Kern?
Really? Brett Kern.
It's outrageous. Definitely didn't
Punter
deserve that.
That's from John. All right, John and I have a disagreement. What's happened with Tua Tagovailoa, Alabama quarterback, is that he's had a CT scan that showed that his hip is as healthy as it's possible to be, considering right now. Now, I think that the Dolphins should draft him 5th overall. I think they should trade up to 3 to take him. I think he's absolutely worth a first-round pick. John disagrees with me.
Not about the first-round pick part.
Okay.
I think it's a first-round pick. This takes a lot of explaining, so I need to talk through this a lot because this is a pretty bold claim here. But I'd just like to start by saying this is not what I want to happen. I want him to do great. I hope I'm wrong.
We're rooting for him.
Yes,
yeah.
He seems awesome. He seems like a great, likable person. The whole country likes him and really roots for him other than Georgia fans. But, he seems great, so I hope I'm wrong. He does have a lot of natural gifts, a lot of natural talent. He has a beautiful deep ball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfect. He is accuracy, touch, more mobility than people give him credit for, despite the fact that his legs are built like pretzels. But he's got a lot of natural gifts, but there's it's a lot of things coming together for him that really go against him. For one, there's a hole in his game. There's actually a hole in his game. When you read a defense, you read pre-snap and post-snap, right? You look beforehand and you say, okay, they're going to be doing this, and this guy's going to be open, and then after the snap, you read the defense as well. And he is not a great post-snap reader for a variety of reasons. For one, his wide receivers are so good that if you chose any of them on any given play, they're probably going to be open. But he's so good at pre-snap reading that he's basically just double-checking himself. Before the snap, he could say, Jerry Jeudy's going to be open on this defense, and he's open. 99% of the time, because he's such a good pre-snap reader and his wide receivers are so good that he's correct. And he doesn't even have to look at the defense afterwards. He just has to look at them and they're open. But when you have a defense complicated enough to confuse him, he can be tricked. He can. And the only defense in college that's complicated enough to do that is Clemson. And he had a bad game against them. I'm not knocking him for having a bad game against Clemson. A lot of people, not named Joe Burrow, have a bad game against Clemson. But when you get to the NFL, the defenses are going to get more complicated, and he's going to have to learn. And he can learn. Don't get me wrong. He's very smart. He will definitely learn. But the learning curve for a quarterback going from college to the NFL is already high, right? There's a lot of adapting that you have to have as a college quarterback to transition into the NFL. There's throws you can make in college that you can't in the NFL. And the learning curve is going to be even steeper for him because of this. And I think he needs to sit out a year. For one, because it helps every quarterback, no matter how good you are, to sit out your rookie season because of that learning curve, right? You name a lot of the great quarterbacks. A lot of them sat out their first season.
I agree with you on this.
Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers,
right.
But also to learn. He needs to learn. But I think his first year, maybe two, might not be usual Tua Tagovailoa. And he will return to form, but it's going to take him longer, and he's going to be worse than other quarterbacks taken in the first round this year, I think. And 2 years not at peak form doesn't seem like that big of a deal for a quarterback, because a quarterback's career is 20 years long, but it might not be for Tua. Tua's going to go to a bad team. He's not going to sit out his first year because he's going to go top 5. He's going to start immediately. Right. If the team says they're not going to start him, he'll be in by week 6.
Yeah. They always do this. We're going to sit him out the whole year.
Daniel Jones is not going to start this year. He was in by week 5, right? It's just going to happen. The young talent, the fans want it as soon as your team starts to tank. He's going to get hit a lot, right? In college, he had great wide receivers and a great offensive line. He's not going to have the benefit of that in the NFL. He's going to be getting hit by bigger, stronger players that he can't outrun as well because they're more athletic. His career will be short. And so that 2 years where he's not great, he's not dominant, is a lot bigger of a deal. Because it's not 8% of his career, it might be 25% of his career. That 2 years might be a fourth of his total time where he's not great.
I actually agree with a lot of things he says. One thing I disagree with you on. Okay, Clemson disguised their coverages. How many games has Tua played in his career as a starter? Like 25, 28?
A lot. Yeah.
Do you think when he played Auburn, when he played LSU, when he played some of the elite teams in that conference, Georgia, do you think those teams gave him clean looks? I mean,
Georgia
you
defense.
think those teams didn't disguise their coverage against him? They're like, here it is. It's going to be man coverage pre-snap, and post-snap it's going to be man coverage.
I know. But he is an incredible post-snap reader, and he sees through a lot of that most of the time.
So why are you knocking him for one bad game against Clemson?
No, I'm not knocking him for one bad game. I'm saying a Georgia defense, as complicated as it is not an NFL defense.
Neither is Clemson.
Neither is Clemson, but it's as close as you're going to get. That Clemson defense is extremely complicated. They do a lot of different stuff, and they give you a lot of different looks.
Right.
It is the most complicated defense in college football.
Slow down a little bit. Okay.
It is the most complicated defense in college football, and it's as close as you're going to get to the NFL.
Alabama.
He plays in Alabama.
But he practices against Alabama.
Practice is different from game.
Right. One of the things you have to talk about is, one of the things John is right about, is I've heard scouts say this. I didn't believe it when I heard it, but I've heard scouts say this now. This could be the greatest receiving corps in the history of college football. Both these receivers are going to go in the first round this year, and maybe both of them are the two others are going to go in the first round next year, Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. 4 first-round receivers. It is ridiculous. So that he's right about. But you can't tell me that Auburn and Kevin Steele and LSU did not try to change coverages.
They'll try.
Right.
They'll try.
They did.
But they're not going to try as hard as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because as hard as they might try, they still only have 20 hours in a week. And in the NFL, you have 100 hours in a week.
So does he. Now he has 100 hours a week. Now it isn't about chemistry
That's what I'm
final.
saying. He will learn.
Right.
He's going to learn this. It's going to happen.
Also,
but
you cannot teach accuracy. You can improve it to a certain extent. He's so naturally accurate.
And that's what I said in the beginning. I'm not knocking him for that. He's very naturally gifted, and I think he will hit a point where he succeeds in the league. It'll just be a very, very brief point. And the injury that ends his career will not be his last injury. He will not consistently be in games. You might have him 11 games a year. And when you have that, he's pushing to try and win every single game just to make it into the playoffs.
So where do you draft him?
Mid to late first, not top 10.
15th.
Fair enough.
Okay. What if he's Drew Brees?
Then he's Drew Brees.
Because that's who he plays like. He's like, well, you don't draft Drew Brees 15. You draft Drew Brees 1. You should have Drew Brees with the first overall pick.
Okay. When Drew Brees had the legs of Twizzlers, little Twizzlers.
Okay.
Maybe he slips a little
Drew Brees was supposed to be Miami Dolphin. And the medical staff of Miami cleared him and said, you cannot sign this player, Nick Saban, who's the head coach, because he cannot pass a physical and he cannot play. 70,000 career passing yards later, he's quarterback of the Saints. Doctors are wrong all the time.
Doctors are wrong all the time.
Yeah.
But this is not a one-time occurrence. This
Like
has been
that injury
consistent.
was. Yeah.
This has been consistent. He has had a lot of leg injuries.
Right.
And this hip injury is not the first and it won't be the last. and he's had better wide receivers than he'll have in the NFL. He's had a better offensive line than he'll probably have in the NFL.
Compared to his...
Considering he's going top 5.
Yeah.
And he has some mobility. He will move outside of the pocket annoyingly to evade, and he's not going to be able to do that because defensive linemen are faster in the NFL as much. He'll probably a little, but he will get caught from behind more often, and he'll get hit harder.
Or he'll learn to get the ball out. The man can learn. The man can does learn. You look at his touchdown interception ratio. He's a quick learner. Quick learner, naturally accurate. I mean, his mind is built for the pro game.
He has a lot of natural gifts.
He has a lot of things that translate to this game. They translate well to this level.
Yeah.
Okay. Tua or Herbert? Justin Herbert, Oregon quarterback.
I have not done a full research on Herbert.
That's going to be his assignment in a couple episodes. He's going to do
I've watched a couple games of Herbert play. Right. And from what I can tell, Herbert is a big pro-style pocket passer who is, from what I've seen, probably going to end up a second-tier player, a Phillip Rivers level of player, maybe not like 0 Super Bowls, but probably that level of quarterback, never top 5, but always top 10 in the league.
So Tua or Herbert?
With Herbert, it's a lot safer because I would be a lot more surprised if Herbert busted than if he got into the top tier.
So if you're the Miami Dolphins at 5, Tua or Herbert?
Herbert. I already said that.
You're going to spend a top 5 pick.
I'm explaining it.
On Justin Herbert?
Yes.
Over Tua Tagovailoa?
I'm sorry. It's my 6'5", 245 pocket passer who has a cannon arm. Not good enough for you?
Okay. All right. Tua or Joe Burrow at 1?
Joe Burrow. Okay, if I chose Herbert over Tua, you think I'm not choosing Burrow over Tua?
I'm starting to wonder about Burrow. A little bit. Small, minor. I'll get into more of that in later episodes.
Okay, explain a little bit more of that. You can't drop a little bomb. You can drop a little bit like that and then not explain it.
Okay, well, we're going to have a whole episode on this, on one of the traits I think that really matters for quarterbacks. And I don't know. It's something about his attitude rubs me the wrong way a little bit. I don't know what it is. He has a little smugness to him. It may seem like a minor thing. Hey, you kids, get off my lawn. I get it. Okay. But I'm telling you, there's something about this. I will have a whole episode with an explanation and examples of what I'm talking about, why I think this matters. But this is a really, really minor concern. I want to dig in more when we do the research into him to find out what he's all about, because on the field, he's just been incredible.
Okay. Purely on the field, who's better, Burrow or Tua?
Tua. For 3 years, it's Tua.
More consistent, I guess.
But Burrow's up here, but Tua's level consistency's up here. They're close.
How big of a knock is Tua's injuries compared to Burrow's smugness?
It's a big knock.
I think
it's a big knock. But why was Burrow not like this last year?
It's a conundrum. It's a little bit confusing.
Is it Joe Brady? Because he had these same receivers. He had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He had all this with him. He had all these same receivers. You're telling me like Joe Brady made this difference?
Quarterbacks can develop.
Man, not like this. They don't develop like this.
This is very, very rare.
Because if Joe Brady was the difference, then Joe Brady has more value than Joe Burrow. Then a Bengals should have hired Joe Brady as offensive coordinator.
Well, the Bengals are dumb.
The Bengals are dumb.
They won't do anything smart.
They're going to mess this up.
I mean, name any smart move you could possibly make as a team, and they won't do it.
Right. Okay. So, the Burrow thing right now, from what we see, the smugness, it's a very minor thing. I would absolutely take Burrow, knowing what we know right now, over Tua. But I would take Tua Tagovailoa over Justin Herbert in a heartbeat, because Tua, he can make your passing game explosive. He can give you a Super Bowl level passing game. He can give you a Super Bowl level passing game. Justin Herbert cannot give you a Super Bowl level passing game. And if I'm taking the quarterback in the top 5, I'm going to have a Super Bowl level passing game.
That's where I think you're wrong.
Okay.
I think it's likely that Herbert will not be a top tier quarterback, but I would not be surprised if he is.
Then why do you draft him number 5?
Because I wouldn't be surprised if he is. He is big. He is very traitsy. He is smart. He's very smart. He won the Outland Award, which is like the Heisman.
No, the Outland's the offensive line. The Campbell Trophy.
Campbell Trophy, which is basically the Heisman for like academics.
Heisman. Right. Good character kid.
Good character kid, And
why couldn't he win
if
road
you
games?
can-
Man, he sure struggled in road games.
He has questions. Every quarterback has questions,
Right.
right? He did not have a great team around him despite the offensive line. Their wide receiver core was shot this year.
Yeah.
He was throwing to nobody.
That's right. A lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries. There were
Production,
times where the ball would go 15 yards over the guy's head because he ran the wrong route. There were times where the guys would just be in the wrong place. He put that team on his back, despite the fact that his offensive line was great. Right? That tells you how bad they were.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of talent. He doesn't get hurt.
No.
But he's got a lot of natural talent, a lot of natural ability. He does have natural accuracy.
He's a good, dependable kid.
He's a good, dependable kid. And if he develops, if he becomes better, I'd be a lot more surprised if he busted than if he became great.
Okay. Better chance to one day have a bust in Canton. Justin Herbert or Tua Tagovailoa.
In Canton?
Canton, Ohio, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Better chance to one day be a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Tua.
Give me that guy, number 5.
Better chance to be on the street in 4 years.
Only because of injury. No other reason? Not like we're not talking about
For
Tua.
any reason.
Tua. Oh, if you take injury out of it, then Herbert.
No, any reason, including injury, including all of it. For any reason.
Tua. Yeah. I want a Hall of Famer.
You want all of it,
Right.
but see, here's the thing.
You picked him in the top 5. That's a terrible place to pick. You never want to pick there again.
Tua has a greater chance of getting in the Hall of Fame, but it's not like Herbert's chance is non-existent. It's there.
If Herbert gets in the Hall of Fame, he's going to be one of these accumulators, a Kerry Collins,
Not
Jim Kelly
necessary.
type, Matt Ryan, that just
Not
packs in a bunch of
necessary.
yards and a bunch of meaningless wins.
No, not necessarily.
And that's how he's
For
going to the Hall
for
of Fame.
one, I'll be damned if Matt Ryan ever gets into the Hall
He's
of Fame.
getting in the Hall of Fame.
That's some
He's getting in the
No.
Hall of Fame. Matt Ryan is getting in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he is. We live in Atlanta, by the way. Yeah. The only thing might keep him out, the obvious thing is what? 28-3. It's not, you Falcons fans at school love him. But Matt Ryan's going to the Hall of Fame because he's going to finish with 70,000 career yards. He's got like 50,000 or something already. Yeah.
Stop talking.
That will get you in the Hall
Stop.
of Fame.
Money sick.
Okay.
Justin Herbert could very potentially, though, have like a Phillip Rivers level of career.
Right.
And Phillip Rivers might get into the Hall of Fame.
Phillip Rivers is a better quarterback than Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phillip Rivers had the weirdest career I've ever
But
seen for an NFL player.
There's
Star-crossed.
a chance he can
Very
get in the Hall of
strange.
Fame.
Very strange ways to lose games for Phillip Rivers. Yeah.
If he is a second-tier quarterback, still a franchise quarterback.
But the number 5 pick, though. That's the number 5 pick in the draft.
Okay. There are a lot.
Get Derek Brown. Okay. Justin Herbert.
This is completely out of nowhere. You didn't say we could choose Derek Brown over either of these fools.
Number 5. Number 5 pick in the draft. You get Derek Brown, the monster out of Auburn, or you can get Justin Herbert.
Derek Brown.
Okay. Okay, Derek Brown or Tua.
Derek Brown.
Tua's a quarterback.
So is Justin Herbert.
Okay. So, this is where we agree to disagree. I would take the chance if I had the top 5 pick. John would not.
See, you're a.
I'm minimizing injuries. Right.
You're a very heavy risk taker.
Right.
There are a lot worse picks at number 5 overall. Guys bust in the top 5 all the time.
Guys busted one.
Guys busted one all the time. It happens. When you're a team like the Dolphins, you've been bad for a while now, a long time. You need a morale boost. You need a guy who can come in here and lead his team. And Tua can do that, but you also need a guy who's going to be able to stay as a leader of the team. You need a franchise quarterback. You need a guy you can build your team around. And if your guy can't be there on your team for a whole season, then you can't build your team around him.
Okay, it's the best way to decide it then. I'm going to tell you ahead of time what the careers are going to be. You're going to, if you pick either one. If you're the Dolphins and you draft Justin Herbert at number 5 overall, you have Justin Herbert, like you said, a very steady player, always good, and you're going to have him for 15 straight years. Now, I'm going to tell you beforehand. You know beforehand in this scenario. Now, you have Tua Tagovailoa. You have him for 9 years. He's healthy 11 games a year on average, and he gives you first or second team All-Pro level play. 9 years. 11 games average, he plays a year. When he plays, he's playing at a All-Pro level. First or second team All-Pro. One of the two best quarterbacks in football. Now, which one do you take knowing that?
Two things to that.
Come on now.
Two things. One, you can't know that.
I know.
Right.
That's why it's a game.
For two, when your quarterback is only playing 11 games a year, that's a big deal because it's very difficult for you to get in and make the playoffs.
Tom Brady for 11 games.
11 games?
Peak
okay.
Aaron Rodgers for 11 games.
So that means you're playing with a backup quarterback for 6 games a year.
Right.
That might be a guaranteed 5 to 6 losses every year that your quarterback has to overcome. Tua, as good as he is, will probably not win every single game that he's healthy.
Everybody knows all that. Who are you taking?
So, what I'm saying is,
everybody knows.
At that point, you're probably looking at 10-6, 9-7 years every year, maybe making it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not. I would take Herbert in this situation, as crazy as it is.
Okay. Who do you want in a playoff game?
Tua. Yeah.
That's it. You get into the playoffs some of those years. You want Tua. You want that level of quarterback. Phillip Rivers never won a Super Bowl. Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers have dominated postseason games and at times should have won more Super Bowls than they did.
Okay. How many playoff runs are you going to give with Tua in your scenario?
Out of 9 seasons, what'd I say?
Yeah.
At 11 games a year, I'm going to get 6 playoff runs.
No.
Yes.
4 at most.
5.
3.
You going down now?
4 at most.
Okay. How many? Justin Herbert, 15 years. How many playoff runs are you going to get? 8?
11 or 12.
No, Matt Ryan isn't getting 11 or 12. He's not that good enough to get you win the division that many times, get that many playoff runs.
11.
Okay. All right, fine, 11. How many Super Bowls is he going to win in 11 playoff runs?
Maybe I'll win you one. How many Super Bowls is Tua going to win you at? 3.
4 playoff runs?
4 playoff runs.
He'll win me a Super Bowl.
No.
Healthy Tua Tagovailoa in 4 playoff runs wins a Super Bowl.
He's going to be healthy by the Super Bowl? He's going to play.
Yeah, because he's going to miss 4 of those games in the middle of the season. And so it's going to let him rest up. And then when you hit the playoffs, it's going to be healthy.
And then in the Super Bowl, he has a lingering ankle injury. And he's going to play,
Yeah.
but it's on his plant leg.
Okay, now we're repeating ourselves. Okay, good segment. I love you.
All right, love you. Bye. Hi, I'm John back again, and we'd like to thank all of you for watching this episode of Our Sport and all the other Our Sports that you tune into. If you want to see our upcoming episodes, next week we're going to be doing a review of the Combine, and we're going to be talking about all the players' measurements and what this means for the draft stock, who rises, who falls. If you want to see that, subscribe for more of our content, turn on the notifications, and you'll be able to see when we upload next. Like this video if you liked it. And if you have suggestions for us, we have plenty of ways for you to come in to contact us. In the description, we have a Facebook, a Twitter, and Gmail. If you have a topic, whether it be coach, player, team, leave it in the comments section down below, and we'll be sure to cover it in an upcoming episode. As always, thank you for watching, and bye.